it feels like there's a wall in between us that I can't break down. If I talk to an American or a Canadian or a British guy or an Australian guy, I feel like it's easier to relate to them because we're speaking the same language natively. June to Kiki, and he changed the picture of the Japanese girl to a really old picture of me with a pretty cool looking hairstyle. So I added her to Line and we started chatting on a daily basis. And she told me that she was this Australian Japanese girl living in Australia. She said that she didn't know how to speak Japanese very well, and she also said that she often visits Japan once or twice a year. And she said that next time she comes to Japan, we could meet up and we could have. And then she asked me for some pictures of which I provided her with. I convinced myself that she was real. And the moment he sent that message, owning up to everything, he just destroyed June. He killed June. The June that was inside of my mind, this cute girl from Australia who was really attracted to me and interested in me, she was destroyed by him. She vanished, she disappeared, she stopped existing. I know she never existed in the first place, but I believe that she was real and I believe she existed, and that's the main thing. She was upset about some of the videos that I've been making, especially one of the recent ones where I talked about June, the Australian girl who catfished me. And I had some explaining to do. I said that I knew what was happening, I knew I was being catfished, I just made that video for views. Do you think me, someone who lives on the internet, doesn't know when he's being catfished? Of course I knew I was being catfished. I knew all the way from the beginning that it was just a guy pretending to be a girl. I went onto her phone and I checked her messages. I went onto Line, and the very first conversation that popped up, which I'm guessing was her last conversation, that's why it popped up first, was this conversation she was having with this Australian guy. And I've talked about the Australian guy in previous videos. If you don't know who he is, he basically was her for about 8 months last year before she got divorced and for a period of time after she got divorced. And they were basically hooking up right up until October, which was around the time she met me. As soon as she came out of the shower and she sat down to dry her hair, I confronted her about it. I said, I've been looking at your phone and I've seen those messages that you've been sending this Australian guy. Can you tell me what's going on? And she just said she was joking. She said none of the things that she was saying were serious. I said, what did you mean when you said to him, I miss your dick? And she said she was joking and that she didn't really mean it. And she was also pretty angry because I checked her phone and we didn't really talk that much, and then she kind of just stormed off and went to work. And she saw me say something like I fantasize about having other girls in her bed, and she was really upset with this. And just by coincidence, around that time, the Australian guy just happened to be online, and she said that she didn't have anyone else to talk to that she felt like she could talk to apart from him. And she just said those things out of frustration because she was upset with me. Things have been fine with us the last few weeks, but it turns out she was just pretending. She was just keeping quiet because I was really ill for the last week with the flu. And I was just really shocked that she was talking to the Australian guy so recently. She must have been talking to him on the day before I checked her phone. Otherwise, the conversation between her and him wouldn't have automatically come up. That only happens when you close lying down on the conversation that you're having. So she must have been having a conversation with him the day before. I talked about marriage and that me and my girlfriend were interested in getting married, and we're still going ahead with the whole getting married idea. Even after the whole Australian guy drama, we managed to talk things through. Even though I still feel kind of upset about the whole thing, I'm trying to put it behind me. I'm trying to forget about it because I feel like the relationship is important to me, and I feel like it's worth trying to save. And I don't want this whole Australian guy matter or issue destroy our relationship. But sometimes I have stories. For example, the Australian guy, there's no way that I can prove that that actually happened unless the Australian guy sends me those videos that he has of him with my wife doing those kinky things. If he really wanted to take out some kind of revenge against me, he could easily send those videos straight to me, because if you go to my YouTube About page, I have my Gmail address written there. I have links to my Twitter and Instagram where you can send me a private message. And yeah, that's a little bit scary. I think it's still a bit too early to be able to tell if the marriage is going to work out or not. And we were off to a bit of a rocky start thanks to the Australian guy. But since we got married, everything's been okay. We haven't had huge arguments, and I really feel like we've bonded, and we've had some great cereal recently, so hopefully things will continue this way.